M8 service is only $351.25 plus tax, including SIN 3 and heavy gear oil. Stop by to schedule your next service or online at TilleyHD.com. Be road ready with Tilley of Statesville.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Purple Heart Homes presents Putting the Pieces Back Together, a forum for veterans and the community to connect. Here are your hosts, veterans John Gallina and Brad Borders.
Welcome. We are so excited to be here with you today. What an amazing show we have planned out. We are really looking forward to it. We might be a little off the normal beaten path, off kilter, as Devin forgot to bring his show notes for us today.
Oh my gosh! I did.
But
It's
it's still a great show planned. We're so excited. I just don't know what to say because Devin ain't telling me what to say now.
Oh wow!
So you never know what you're gonna get from me.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is great.
But I promise it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we could create some show notes.
I mean, we could create some show notes as we go along,
Yeah, we could.
and it's not like you ever listen what I tell you what to say anyway. So
I always listen. I just don't follow.
I understand. Yeah. I think that's one of those things where they call it you hear me, but you don't listen to me, John. That's maybe we need to have some counseling sessions or something.
I need lots of counseling.
Yeah, me too.
I've had my fair share of wall-to-wall counseling too.
I've had a little bit of that, and I think our guest today may have been on both ends of that wall-to-wall counseling at one point.
Has he thrown himself against the wall and then run into the other wall, or how's that work?
Well, he switched from an enlisted to officer. That's always fun.
Chase the money.
Oh yeah. Oh.
my favorite kind of officer, a Mustang.
A Mustang. Ooh, yeah, you do like you some Mustangs.
The greatest compliment I ever got as an officer was at my OBC course, because I was not prior enlisted, straight into the direct commission off the street. And an NCO walked up to me, and he was looking at my uniform. It was uniform inspection day, right? And he's eyeballing me up and down. He was like, "Hey, sir, what was your MOS before you became an officer?" And I was like, "Thank you very much."
So are you saying your boots were polished?
Everything
your blouse,
evidently
you were
looked,
properly bloused?
I didn't know
looked
chaplains polished boots. That's pretty.
Did you ever polish a boot?
Of course, I polished a boot. What are you talking about?
Just one of them?
But he didn't spit shine them; he licked them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
what do you think
polished a boot. Every
that's,
night I polished a boot.
Did you use Crayola? Is that what you're polishing?
Well, we always got the black crayons.
Yeah.
You smelt them down.
Melted.
Oh my
There
gosh!
was a lighter involved in my boot polishing.
That's
Remember
true.
this?
Yeah.
You would have to. Yeah, you would get the kiwi out, and then you would take the lighter, and then you would literally spit on them. Right? And then I would have the little cotton ball, right? The little cotton ball
with alcohol.
You have to do it. Yes, you do little circles, over
I
and over
don't think
again.
you want to be spitting on the air right now. There's an interesting social media trend going around. You might want to stay away from that subject. That's going to put us in hot water.
Tammy just giving the side eye.
Yeah,
all right,
I know about
Let's get to our guest. Hi, Lou. Have you ever spit on any boots?
Boot spitter from way back.
We've got Lou Watson here.
Hey, how we doing, everybody?
Lou, it's so great to have you on the show. Been friends for a long time, and you've been a long time supporter, and we're really thrilled. So let me be the first to congratulate you on your retirement.
Thank you.
How many years, Lou?
25.
Outstanding.
25 on paper, and somewhere probably a little bit more than that, in the long run. But
Yeah.
Numbers, it doesn't matter. We got it done. We're at the finish line.
So did
That's
you
all that
retire
matters.
out of the Guard or the Reserves?
Reserves. I started in the Guard and then transitioned about halfway through over to the Reserves.
Which brings me to a question.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm in the same position, and I'm trying. What was the magic potion you did to get your retirement packet moving?
Man,
because I'm really wanting whatever that is. Because for some reason I can't get mine moving.
Well,
it just comes down to paperwork and where are you in the process? Whose desk are you sitting on, and how easy is it to knock on their door or give them a call and get them on the phone?
Desk, right?
Or whatever it takes. Do whatever you want to do to the desk. But the trick is finding the desk. And once you can find it, that is, you got to find the desk.
Find the desk.
It's
Where is that desk?
You got to Aaron Brockovich it all the way to
That's exactly right.
That's how you're going to do it.
Is it like hidden? Is it like Narnia? You don't know.
Well, it's definitely hidden, 100% hidden. But
Now, Lou, let's narrow down the record here of your service.
okay.
What was your favorite unit that you served in?
Oh no!
Just stop that. It's shameless. It's shameless.
There is retirement unit a unit? I don't think.
Okay, what's your second favorite unit? You know where I'm going with this, Lou. Help me out.
I already liking Lou here.
Oh my gosh! Listen,
1, 3, 4.
I will tell you, every experience that I had, every unit that I had, there was things that I absolutely loved about it, and some things that maybe not so much. And it's impossible to pick a favorite. It's impossible to say this is better than that, because at times it was better than that, and at other times it definitely was not better. So
You can tell he's been to officer school.
I was going to say, what office is he running for?
Oh man. Whichever one leans back, the chair needs to recline. That's the one.
That's exactly right.
So Lou, you started off as an MP.
I did, yes.
99?
1999. So yeah, I would love to say that. I wanted to save the world and I wanted to be a hero, but I was trying to go to college, and that's all that was. Have you seen Rambo: First Blood? You ever seen that movie?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, you remember the National Guard that he fights at the end?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. So that was kind of how the National Guard was in 1999.
It was, yeah.
A pre 9/11 National Guard was a little different than a post 9/11.
We didn't carry extra uniforms in our duffel bag. It was glass and tin cans.
Oh man. Well, it's fun. Like I tell people on that movie, there's the guy's like, I don't know where my helmet is, Bob. I don't know. Get in the Humvee, we're going. It's like, and I loved it. It was great. There was a bar in the basement. Drill was fun, especially honestly. But it was great. I got college money and got that training. But the game changed obviously after 9/11, which was very shortly after I had joined.
For sure.
I just barely got through basic training, and then all that happened. So
I do love how that guy in Rambo, the leader, announced himself while Rambo was in the cave, and he goes, "This is Clinton Morgan, the National Guard leader." And then it's where he looks at him, "Hey, I want you to go in there and get that guy." "Screw that, Clinton. I got to go to work tomorrow."
Yeah, I got to go do my real job tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't have time to
I got to
fight
be at the
Rambo
drugstore tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're going to go to a break just here in a moment, and we'll pick up more of your story. What I find is the better part of the story. When you joined the 113th Field Artillery and deployed with the real National Guard. Yeah,
not with Clinton's unit.
No, not with Clinton's unit. But no, we really are excited, and we got some really exciting news about your retirement ceremony and party that's coming up.
yeah.
We'll talk about later in the show
For
and how
sure.
folks can join in on that and participate and support the charity. And
Awesome.
And just look forward to talking about the retirement process with you. And naturally, Brad is a major retiree, having similar
Limbo.
major in limbo.
The gray area.
Look forward to kind of comparing and hearing some of what some of those challenges are for our listening audience of the retirement process and reintegration. So
For sure.
That's a great word, because that's what they tell you at the retirement briefing.
it's a process.
It's not an event. It's a process. I had no idea what they were talking about until I experienced
How many
it.
forms you filled out?
Oh, geez.
All of them.
Oh, yes.
All of them.
All of them times two, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, and we will be right back with Major, soon-to-be retired, Lou Watson. Stand by.
We'll be back with more of Putting the Pieces Back Together with your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders, after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the break in humidity was nice, but it definitely was short. It's already working its way back in as we go into this evening. Overnight, a mostly clear sky. It gets muggy again As temperatures fall into the mid-70s, outlying spots and farms could even see low 70s waking up Friday morning. Not really going to end our drought, but a chance for a couple of showers or downpours, even thunderstorm possible on our Friday. Mostly cloudy sky, with high temperatures in the mid and upper 80s. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Putting the pieces back together continues now. Here are your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Hey, welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. You can find out more about us at phhusa.org. And you can find out what Devin's up to.
What Devin's up to? I'd like to know.
So would a lot of people. I know this morning you were assembling some promotional flags. And
That's
it
true.
Looked like you were in.
Was he sewing them like Betsy Ross?
No, it looked like he was looking at these parts and going. He was like trying to figure out. I'm not quite sure how this goes together, and it was a conundrum for you. I think
there were no instructions. Well, there were, but like it was like they were like this big and in Chinese.
Oh, they were printed. They were printed, not in crayon.
That's right.
They didn't send him a QR code with a video link on how they put it together.
Yeah.
But they actually look pretty cool.
He is my absolute hero when it comes to videos. If you have not seen Devil Dog Devin's videos,
Is that on OnlyFans?
Well, I don't know about that. I don't go to OnlyFans. I was referring to the ones on Purple Heart Homes Facebook page.
That's right.
You know,
The engineer's
when
like,
we were
yes,
at
they
the
are.
break, and I was talking about the gerbil video. Now I see Ben smiling.
I just created havoc on the show. My apologies to everyone listening.
I am now at a loss for words.
Let's
which
get back
never
to the
happened.
good stuff.
Please.
I want to talk about blowing things up. Let's talk about artillery.
Okay,
Oh,
let's do
no.
that. King
My
of
favorite
battle.
subject.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So Lou, you're first. So you're in the National Guard that looked like Rambo First Blood, and you now suddenly 9/11 happened.
Clinton Morgan was there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
There we were in the cave.
there we were. So again, the goal was to go to college, and so I had gone to basic, and I got my money, and I'm enjoying college and figuring it out. And I got through, a semester after boot camp, and then it happened. And obviously September, and then so we get right into Christmas, and so I get a phone call Christmas Eve. We're getting deployed, and I was like, "Cool, what's that?"
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's
Not even a concept of it. Huh?
And we're gonna go on a mission, and I was like, "Okay, cool. Well, let me tell my mom. Hang on." And we like a week. Like, what is this? And it's like, no, you're gonna probably need to be gone a little longer than that. And then I realized, I'm not gonna be in college anymore. I was just oblivious to the scope.
Life stops.
Yeah, yeah. And then next thing you know it, a month later, we're boots in the sand, and it like I said, it came real fast. And people always talk about certain things that happen in their life that either forced or were a catalyst for them to kind of grow up and start to see life differently and things like that. That was definitely mine, because I was just, college. What? Where,
So you
we're doing what?
19?
Oh, man.
20?
So I would have been 21. Yep. I had just turned 21 that year. And it happened. It happened real fast, but.
It is kind of shocking, when I had a similar experience. I joined, and then, like 3 months into my service, we get I get a call. Hey, hope you don't have plans for after your basic course. I was like, what? Wait, what? Yeah, this happened quickly. I mean, and it was a real jolt for us, because it was kind of like my neighbor who was an older Army veteran, and I saw him at the tire store, and he was like, "Heard you's going to Iraq," and he was like, "You're like that dog that chased the car and caught it. And now he don't know what to do with it." And it was right. It was a lot like that, you know. And I had been, done all this stuff to get into the military, and then all of a sudden now it's time to actually do what you came to do. And it was a jolt for our family.
For sure. And that's the thing is at that time, I just didn't know. I didn't know the things that on my third deployment, it was easy because I already knew. I was like, got it. Okay. Well, I immediately started doing all the things that I knew to do for deployment. But especially at that time, like I said, pre-9/11, I mean, there was just no pre-deployment briefs or checks, or half that unit immediately got out because they hadn't passed a PT test in 3 years and no one cared.
Smokes.
So it was just a different.
Had to go back into work at the drugstore.
Yeah. The whole military had to tighten up their boots and start to take things a little more seriously than they had been, because no one had been holding them that accountable for that long. Right. So everything changed, and for that particular deployment, it was. Again, I literally didn't know what a deployment was when I got that call. I was just totally oblivious.
You found out, though.
I did discover what they were talking about.
In so many ways, I've often looked back and specifically in conversations with people that have had multiple deployments, this idea of a big Army movement and the logistics that it takes in order to move an entire unit and all the equipment and the food and the mail and just everything, all the pieces from a base to a train to the dock to the ship to the new dock and unloading it. I mean, it's a lot, and I don't think a lot of civilians really quite understand what goes into it. And
I mean, it's a giant corporation essentially. I mean, it has all the same moving pieces of a giant multinational corporation, and you just mentioned all the logistics of a shipping company, which is that's one tiny piece of it, but it's a huge piece. And the scope of all that, and then you're an E3, E4 who don't know from his end. You're where am I? What am I doing?
I like that he self beeps.
I know, right? I did warn him before the show.
Well, and then it all happens, and then you learn by doing, and that's exactly how that was. And then so we got through 13 months in Kandahar and Bagram in Afghanistan, doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, we used to joke that MP means multi-purpose, and it does. And I couldn't even tell you all the different types of missions that we were doing, in addition to the main detainee control stuff that we were doing at that time. But got off of that deployment, came back, and said, okay, well, that's behind me now. I'm a grown-up. Time to get back to college. And I was in college, I think 4 months before we got the next call. And,
Wow.
And then of course, as you know, we now it's late 2003. We're invading Iraq. Yep. So that started off. And of course, the MPs were the very first people to call, to get in there. So here I am again. Okay, now I'm leaving, and I'm like, man, I'm never gonna get through college. But
you were getting an education.
Man, was I? Was I? And again, those two deployments, just because we were young, and I got into all my trouble during those, but also had the best stories from those. So
cool. Okay, stop right there. All right. What'd you do? What'd you do?
Oh man, I'm trying to think of the ones that are
statute of limitations is out.
Right,
okay, good.
Right. Also, I'm pretty sure that stuff is all declassified. There's one story. I'll try to be faster until an hour. We can.
Yeah, we got about 4 minutes before our next
man.
break.
Yeah.
Go ahead, take us away.
Okay, so it's a detainment facility. It's in Afghanistan. We're just in the desert. There's no buildings. There's no bathrooms. It's I don't know if we didn't have porta potties for the first year, and so it's bare bones. And one of the many jobs that the lower enlisted was doing was just kind of patrolling the detainee facility, which is outside, and there's cages and wire and all that good stuff. On the edge corner of that facility is a giant warehouse, and it was made of tin or whatever. And in that warehouse was more control stuff, I guess cages, but areas where they kept. These are the folks that we know are serious. These are the folks the CIA is going to be talking to. Right. These are not. We don't know yet. Like we know who's in there. It's bad. So. On top of this building, birds would land, and I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands of birds would land on the roof of this. Well, just so many, and there's not a lot of entertainment in Afghanistan in 2002. Like anything that you can do to not be bored. So we would throw a rock at the building. It would hit that roof, and thousands of birds at one time would all take off, and it was really cool to see it. And so we would just wait until the roof got full of birds, and then we would do it again. And eventually they're like, hey, we have serious war criminals in that building. Can you stop throwing rocks at it? It's not okay. And so they put out they made a big deal about it, and they said, okay, we got to stop doing this. Like, all right. So the rule has been established now. Specialist Watson is doing his rounds, and his buddies are in the tower, and they see that I'm down there, and they're like, throw a rock at the roof. Oh, no. And I'm like,
I'm not supposed to.
And I gave them some nonverbal communication, and they said, and then they called me some names, and eventually, and I said, okay, I'll show them. And so I'm looking around for my rock, and I see what looks like a pretty hefty one, but I have to kind of unearth it a little bit. So I'm like, this boulder, I'm just getting it out of the earth and just getting it off. And they're like, oh my God, he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm gonna do it. And what I didn't know at this time was inside there in that facility, the CIA was there, all the senior brass was in there.
Oh no!
They had 3 German shepherds doing searches of all of the cells. So all of the detainees are now hands behind the head, under gunpoint, with German shepherds in there searching those facilities. I was oblivious.
Of course.
It was probably in a briefing that I wasn't paying attention in. I don't know. So here I am unearthing my boulder, and I just release this thing with every ounce of strength that I have, and it hurtles into the sky, and they just got down on the ground. You could hear like they knew it was coming. And so this thing is in the stratosphere, and it's coming down, and it's building. The fire is coming off of it as it enters the atmosphere, and it's coming down on top of this roof, and it hits, and the birds scatter. And the first thing I hear is 2 gunshots, and all the dogs start barking, and I'm and then of course all of my facilities stopped working, and then of course Sergeant Hooker came out. Sergeant Hooker, by the way, used to be a Navy SEAL, and he comes out, and I'm the only one standing there, and I'm just as wide-eyed and terrified as possible.
Straight guilty.
And he just looks at me and says, why? And I was just trying to think of anything that I could, and I wanted to see the birds fly.
That's all I had. That is beautiful.
Well, we're not flying the coop.
Yeah, what a great place to pause. We got to hear from our amazing sponsors. We'll be back here in just a couple minutes. Thanks for listening today.
Putting the pieces back together. We'll be back with more of John Gallina and Brad Borders after these messages from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
pipes for
Yep.
the first 6 months we were there.
Oh, we two in both of those deployments. That's all we had the whole time, and it was, I just thought that was just how it was. I didn't know we were waiting on porta potties.
Yeah, when KBR showed up, it was like
Christmas.
it was like Christmas. It was
KBR?
like yeah.
What's KBR? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that acronym.
Kellogg,
big
Brown, and
Root.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's a big defense contract.
Oh, you've never heard that?
I have heard of them, but I
They were
didn't.
Dick Cheney's defense
Yeah, Halliburton and
contractor,
KBR were the two.
Yeah, I knew
Halliburton was the
Halliburton.
parent-
I know
was
Halliburton,
the,
but
parent company
I
for
never
KBR.
had any dealings with KBR.
Oh,
man.
man. We had all kinds of dealings with those dudes.
Yeah.
I remember we found a stash of their. Are we live on the Airbnb?
We are live. There is volume.
Facebook.
They can hear us.
Oh, okay.
All of our.
I better be quiet. I don't know.
Self-beat.
Yeah.
Self-beat. And back to Clinton Morgan.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of fun. It was.
And if you'd like to hear John Gallina tell stories that he cannot tell live on the radio, go to our YouTube channel where you can catch all the behind the scenes.
I won't be telling that story on YouTube either.
That would not be behind the scenes. That's a public-facing page. If you want stories you can't tell on the radio, you have to call Purple Heart Homes.
Call Purple Heart
And
Homes.
ask for him.
Ask for John Galena.
Yeah.
Everybody except the CIA and
Call
the
704-838-4044. You can
None of
talk to
those
John
people need to
Galena about his malfeasance.
I've got
The SBI. Wait a second.
SBI.
Where was this?
I'm not saying.
Okay. We're not going to catch him in that
Bird
trap.
has flown the coop.
Wow. I see what you did there.
Yeah, you see that, huh? Yeah. So, Lou, you excited about Saturday's event?
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're super pumped. I've put a ton of my own life force into it over the last 3 months, so I'm exhausted. But it's going to be.
I was
great.
impressed with the film crew that came out. And,
Yeah.
they did. That was a great quality video too. They did really good.
And that's Tyler, and I'll mention the sponsors for that when we get to that. But yeah, he's been so great helping out and promoting the event.
You got a couple really cool bands lined up.
One or three, yeah, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. That's what I've always done, and we'll get into that too. But I play music, and now that I am finally retiring, I'm playing a lot more of it and enjoying.
Did you ever actually play with Dale? Did y'all ever play together?
No, and I have a screenshot of a conversation between me and him where we were talking about doing this exact thing. And I was like, we need to do a band event with your band and my band. We'll sell tickets. We'll give all the money to Purple Heart Homes. And he was like, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
If I remember right, y'all met after our injury when he was doing contract work with the units deploying, right?
Correct. And we just got in touch. I heard he was in a band, and then I heard about that, and I was in that kind of mindset where I want to give back. I want to do some stuff, and that just seemed like an immediate outlet. And he was very receptive, and we were off to the races.
Did you ever do any of the Kangaroo Express tours? Did you ever go to any of those?
No. So I was working for a marketing company at that time that was pretty big, and that was taking up a lot of my time. But through that company, they had funding, and so I was they had programs for charity work, and so I was using that to benefit with Dale, and so that was where a lot of that came from. So I was doing like cornhole tournaments, and small stuff like that.
Did you know Dale did a band tour with Kangaroo Express in the USO?
That would have been awesome.
The median price nationwide, $398,000. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together with your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders, and of course, the handsome Devil Dog Devin.
Who is the star of the nationally
acclaimed? I love it when he talks about himself in the third person.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do that from now on. Brad Borders is amazing.
I always talk about how amazing you are and how luscious your beard is. And
I can slide over to the left a little bit if you need some more room.
Thank you, John.
We're here with our guest Lou
That's
Watson.
buddy care right there. there. He started rubbing my leg one day, and I was like, "Hey."
He was talking about that earlier. He said every time he turns the volume down, he likes to find your leg.
I mean, you got to have some sort of amusement while you're on here. You guys are.
You know why? You know why it brings Miss Tammy in here, don't you?
Why is that?
To keep an eye on you.
Is that right?
That makes sense.
Just taking notes.
Well, I only do it to make Miss Tammy jealous.
She's like, keep him.
I'm secure.
You can have him.
All right, that bird's flown the coop.
That's right. You know what? We should talk about some of our events coming up.
I think that's a great idea.
You know that there's a little bit of a fishing tournament going on this weekend. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, It's the Real Heroes Kayak Fishing Tournament put on benefiting Purple Heart Homes. All proceeds go to our great organization. And there's just so many great sponsors out there, and we're so happy to have them on board. And there's a captain's dinner tomorrow night. It's not too late to sign up. And, of course, the fishing tournament's going to start early, 6 a.m. on Saturday on Lake Norman. You can go from any public port and start out, and you can compete against John Gallina himself.
No, wait a minute.
Lake Michigan?
You can start from the port of Charleston?
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry. In any public launching area of Lake Norman, you can launch your kayak from and fish against John Gallina. And
It'll be a launch party.
A lunch party. Ooh, yeah,
not
like
a
that.
lunch party.
Oh,
a lunch party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
funny.
directly after the tournament on that Saturday, we got a really special event coming up benefiting Purple Heart Homes.
No
Kind
kidding.
of connected to our guest here today, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Just a
think
little?
so. Like a retirement party for that Lou Watson guy.
And there's nothing like a retirement party by a veteran that likes throwing rocks and seeing thousands of birds fly into the air, right? This is going to be a special party.
Absolutely.
He came real close to going to a black site.
You really, that's not even a joke. That man.
I thought that
on
was
that guy.
It was the low point in my life. Okay.
Is that the name of your punk band, bro?
That was the name of my punk band, Black Site.
That was the point in which they decided to take you from E4 to O4. Is that right?
Right immediately. It was a
Yeah.
battlefield promotion.
Yeah.
That's like this
purple
kid's
guy.
got what we're looking for.
He threw a rock on a building. Congratulations,
Man.
Major.
From throwing rocks to rock concerts, man, you are something else.
That was a transition.
Nice.
Now,
I just have to ask. I mean, how many confessions came out immediately from all those terrorists when they heard the rock hit?
Whatever you want to know. Whatever you want to know.
I did it. I
The
did
bullets
it.
started flying. Stop! I did it.
See, they gave me a medal after the dust cleared.
Turns
out that's what we needed.
When birds tend to fly, they after they've been sitting for a while, they leave things behind. Is there like a field of fertilizer?
Well, I mean, speaking of fertilizer, that was my punishment for that whole thing. Is I became the specialist of removing that from that, and so I burned a lot of poop in 2003. Yeah. But that's how you learn your lesson.
The fecal matter
There we go.
extraction.
I was trying to find that word.
Fecal matter extraction specialist.
I don't think I would like to be the subject matter expert on that one. That's
on the resume.
Yeah.
MOS 01 alpha.
It's what you call a slow burn.
So you're in an MP unit, second deployment, and then you start transitioning to an artillery unit, right?
So the second deployment was still the MPs, and again that had another bag of stories. And then got back. Well, what happened was I realized I'm just never going to get through college. I have got to figure something out, and I had started talking to the ROTC department up at App State where I was in college, and the Mountaineers, and they were like, "Well, did you know that if you contract with ROTC, they actually own your contract after that, and you won't deploy. Even if your unit deploys, you will stay here and train because ROTC takes precedent." And I was like, sign me up, because I will never get my degree if I don't do that. So I did do that, and then I was able to finish. I was actually the very first National Guard soldier deployed at App State. and so they had never had that happen before. So there's lots of cool stuff. They were very supportive, very cool. I think I had one professor that didn't give me an automatic A when I got that second deployment. Everybody else was like, "Oh, you're good. Here's an A. You're fine." And one professor was like, "Not on my watch. No, sir. You will take this class again." I was like, but pretty good, and had a really great experience there. Got my degree. Of course, the catch, obviously, is that you have to go become an officer after ROTC. Yep. So went out, and I wanted to be in the Charlotte area because that's where all my friends were landing after college, and it seemed to be the place. And I was playing music, and I wanted to continue doing that. So that was the place, and that's when I kind of discovered that the artillery unit there, the 105th, I'm sorry, the 30th, and the 113th Field Artillery kind of took me in, and immediately, I wasn't even back, kind of like your story, I wasn't even back from officer school out there at Fort Sill before I got the call. Hey, by the way, when you get back, you're probably going to just want to keep your bags packed because we're taking a trip. So then that was the third deployment, and at this point I was a young butter bar. Nice. Just, again, it's kind of very similar to being a private in a lot of ways. Right. And then did that whole deployment and learned a whole different side of the Army and all that good stuff, and it grew up in a different way. And then finally got through that and came back, and then I should probably get a real job now at some point. And that was that. That was when I really started to experience that transition, because I kind of don't count college because it was just a whirlwind of all over the place.
Yeah, when you were at Fort Jackson, he's wearing, for those that can't see, he's wearing a 134 Infantry Battalion shirt from Fort Jackson. So that's an IET unit.
Yep.
There's a number of those at Fort Jackson, and you were mobilized there. Or were you with the 108th or
so
that unit?
That was after my field artillery time, and I had transitioned to the reserves at that point. And I was in the TRADOC side, and that was a really cool part of my career to see behind the curtain. Like, you start off at basic training, and then now you're a company commander for a basic training company, and so that was really, really cool. I greatly enjoyed that.
There's some of the greatest stories in all of the Army that come out of basic training.
Your best stories are when you're the one screwing up. Those are the funniest. Yeah. But then the second best stories are the ones when you're watching it, where you get to see the screw ups and all the fun stuff. And probably one of the most growing up moments in my entire life was remembering what it felt like to see the company commander at basic training, and then seeing that look in their eyes when I would walk by, and that was like such a
it's the captain. It's a captain.
Honestly, I had not. The gravity of any of that had never hit me until that moment, and I was like, I know exactly how they feel, and that made me take it so much more serious.
Well, I mean, there's really two looks. There's the look of fear, like, that guy can ruin my life.
Correct.
Then there's the look of opportunity. That guy could send me home.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, that also is two types of soldier that you're dealing with.
Sounds very specific there, John, that you have that consideration.
Oh, no, I didn't have the consideration. I just know the look.
Well, being a company commander in a basic training unit that's got a lot of different challenges.
Yeah, it's
of different
one of the
challenges.
busiest jobs, because a big part of basic training is that you're never sleeping, and if they're not sleeping, you're not sleeping. So
that's right.
You don't. It's not an easy gig, and you're up before they are up, and then you're going to bed far after they're in the rack. So huge commitment to do that. I don't think anybody can sustain it for too long. I certainly couldn't. Yeah. But I so much enjoyed that time. It was absolutely fantastic, super rewarding.
Yeah. Yeah, I really dug it. Everybody asked me, what's it like being the chaplain for a basic training unit? And I was like, it's like youth ministry with guns.
Yeah, right. 100%.
Because everybody's 19 years old.
Yep.
The stories were just amazing.
Yep.
And I had a kid come up to me in Iraq and go, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, I didn't see but 10,000 come through Fort Jackson. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, tell me. I used to come to your chapel service every week. And I was like, oh yeah, man, you were awesome.
I had that exact experience, but it was actually in Iraq, and I was coming back from Iraq. It was night, and I just hear Watson, and I hadn't heard that tone in a while. And it was my basic training drill sergeant.
Oh, man.
He found me on deployment.
Cool. We're going to have to put a pin in it right there. If you want to hear more from Lou Watson or about the concert at Amos's on South End, check us out after this break.
There's more Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders on the way from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
get this on my story on my Facebook?
So I keep trying to put the. Would someone like to go in the comments and click and tell me if those links that I put up for the concert works?
Look.
Those of you who are listening on
mine just
Facebook,
I went to the benefit show.
the links
Put it
are
up with the Facebook post.
beautiful, beautiful. So all of you on Facebook, if you see that link, you can go right to the benefit concert that Lou's putting on this weekend for his retirement party, and you're going to be drumming in that, aren't you?
I'm going to be doing a lot of drumming. I'm going to do a lot of different things, but yeah, I'm so.
He was practicing right here on the table for a
Lou,
little.
we got just about 2 minutes here in our break left, and then this next part of this show will go pretty fast too,
Okay.
and so I want to cover something here with you, and we'll be able to clip this part.
Sure.
Tell our listeners why what's the motivation and why you're doing this.
Okay, so I don't know if you all knew Dale. I had the absolute privilege to meet that wonderful person, and it was sort of a happenstance. We were both drummers, and I had kind of heard about Purple Heart Homes and about him, and I was working at a company that had some charity budget, and so I kind of reached out and we started talking about different ideas and things like that. And one of the things that we had always talked about doing was a charity event where his band would play and my band would play, and we would give all the proceeds and make it a fun thing. And it was just it was a pipe dream, and we wanted to do it, and it just never came to fruition because schedules and all the different things. And so then I was thinking about my own retirement party. I was like, well, maybe we'll have a band play. And it was like he tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, buddy, remember that thing we were going to do? This is what you're. And I was like, that's it. And so that kind of inspired me to reach out and get that conversation going. And I'm just so excited.
It really just amazes me, and I can't thank you enough. Not for the fundraiser aspect, but for just honoring that commitment to Dale. That's just really cool. But, most people in their retirement process, it's really about them, and it's a focus on them. But, what I find just so amazing is you're making this about other people, right? And I think that's just outstanding. I wish more people were like that.
It is going to be fun. And so I can't.
Brad Borders at 844 Studio 4. It's Putting the Pieces Back Together on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
We're back, and if you're not doing anything this weekend, July 13th, 7 p.m. at Amos's South End, Lou Watson's retirement party benefits from the door, or every dollar from the door goes to benefit Purple Heart Homes, and Lou's going to play some fantastic drums out there. He's been practicing on our table as we've been having this interview, so I know he's going to be prepared.
Called Black Sight's going to be playing.
Oh my gosh, Brad!
Brad, I think we're going to have to make sure that you get up on stage. All this garage rock band we hear about, you're going to take your. I was going to say, take the dulcimer.
We need a T-shirt that says that's the name of my punk band.
Yeah. That's the name of my punk band. Just that statement.
That sounds like a really good podcast all by itself.
Yeah.
Man.
Welcome to That Was the Name of My Punk Band.
So if you want to listen to the spin-off podcast.
Ben's back there crying. It's like, please, Lord, no, I can't take this so much. Once a week's enough.
Ben and I are going to do that together. It'll be a show about
We're
nothing.
actually on the, we're in the same band. Honorary member.
Oh, yeah, is that right? I think that band only has honorary members.
Right. I'm a vocal specialist.
There you go. There you go. So Lou, tell us, what's the name of your band?
All right, so when I was doing all that college that I was talking about before, one of the things that really made that transition easier on me was that I had already kind of started playing music with some folks and things like that. So coming back meant I got to be in the band again, and I got to do that, which was what I've loved my whole life. My dad was a drummer, raised around music and watching him play, and so it was just very natural, and I just loved doing it. And so we had started a band. We were together 4 or 5 years and did a lot of cool stuff, and it was more hard rock, and little grungy hard rock, I guess.
Gotta have a little grunge.
Grungy. It was a little grungy.
Yeah.
And had such a great time, and those guys will really never fully know how important that was for me in that transition from military to civilian, and having that thing to chew on and put my passion and time and effort into. And we can talk about more of that later. But anyway, that band, eventually we broke up, and we all went and started doing life. Is gonna play for the first time in about 20 years.
Wow!
So, and we were really good. I hope we're still really good. We'll see.
So you've not practiced?
Well, that's the thing is we have. However, we have a guitar player in Raleigh. We have a guitar player in Atlanta, and then there's kids and life and family and all those things. So we know the set list, we know the songs, and we've been working on them individually. But literally tomorrow is going to be all day practice, and we're gonna dial it all in. But I would just, everybody has bands and things they talk about. I just got super lucky. I'm telling you, like wildly talented people in this group that went on to do other things, but could have really done something special. And so that makes it so much easier because they're going to show up prepared and on it and tight. And
for this weekend, you ought to call it the Lou Watson Rhythm and Blues Review.
Yeah, I would. but then they're not going to drive to be in the band. That's the thing. It's like, I'm kidding. They absolutely would. But I'm just, like I said, it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
So what's the name of the band?
So that band, funny story, was called...
I'm trying to get it in.
Sorry. It was called The Influence while we were in college, but then we got a call.
Under the Influence.
No, just The Influence.
The Influence.
And but our T-shirt on the back did say, "Are you under?"
Yeah, there you go.
It did say it. And it was really cool. But then we got a call from a lawyer and said, "Hey, there's this band, The Influence, that has a record deal. You're going to need to change your name, or we're going to sue you." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
We change it.
And I kind of told the guys, "Hey, look, that's a sign of success. All right, when lawyers are calling you, telling you to change your name, at least they heard of you, right?" So we had to change our name. And so the hardest part of being in a band, unless a name like Black Site just pops out at you, is coming up with that name. And so we just took a whole Saturday, sat around trying and fighting and arguing and debating. And after the dust settled, we had settled on Valor Bound. I had really hung on to the word valor, and I said, I really want this word valor in there somehow. And then we're bound together through music, and that's where
I was hoping for like sourdough bread.
Yeah. And that would have been cool too.
What goes through your mind?
Always on the rise, right? Always on the rise.
Rising bread.
Something's bubbling up.
Something's bubbling up. Yeah.
And so
highly fermented.
We could go on like
so
this.
What are the other bands that are going to be playing?
And so Even Flow Band is another band that's going to be playing with us.
I bet they're grungy.
They are.
That does sound pretty grungy.
They don't just play Pearl Jam; they play a bunch of different stuff, and they're gonna be playing with us. Really excited to have them, and so then the other part of the story was later on as a civilian. I have a job. I'm like, I miss playing music, and so I started a new band in the late 2010, 2011 time period, and a totally different group except for the bass player. I've been playing the same bass player for 25 years. He's like a brother of mine, but. And that was very different because your singer determines what kind of band you're in, really. I mean, if you got the voice, that's the song. I mean, that's the type, And so he was on The Voice, Jaron Strom. He was a contestant on The Voice. I'd kind of interacted with him. And so this is very poppy. This is very hip-hop. And he had the Justin Timberlake kind of sounding, Bruno Mars sounding. He's really great. And so that band, as a result, I mean, Justin Timberlake can't be the singer of Nirvana, right? It just isn't going to work out, So we started doing kind of a different kind of music, which was fun for me to learn that style because that wasn't what I gravitated to, but it did open me up and I became a lot more open. And then a really close friend of mine named Prince is a hip hop artist, and so we were like, well, let's just try this. Not that Prince.
I'm like I was in the same.
The artist currently known as Prince.
Wow, that's pretty clever right there.
He would die for you.
I just came up with that. And so then we added that hip hop element to it, and so it's got a lot of melodic parts and some hip hop breakdowns and kind of a fun vibe. And I mean, you can check us out on Spotify, Minutes and Years.
I'm gonna do it.
The name of the band, that band's called Minutes and Years.
Minutes and Years.
Minutes like a clock, and years like a calendar. Minutes and Years.
Okay.
And the idea was timeless music. That was where we were trying to go with that.
That's very cool.
And like I said, the hip hop pop, and again, it just changed my writing style and brought me me some different directions, met some new people, and did a bunch of cool stuff.
Do y'all cover any songs? I mean, or you
Yeah,
got your own stuff?
we have, it's about 50-50.
Okay.
We're going to do a lot of covers on Saturday. We're excited. We're this is for fun. So we're doing our own stuff, but we're putting some new stuff in there that we're just excited because we want to, and it's going to have a good
Please
time.
tell me you cover an Eminem song.
I actually do the Eminem rap in the song that we do. I don't know that we're going to do that part. It's because my singer plays drums and we switch. We do a Dr. Dre Eminem thing, but
that is awesome.
That's my rapper buddy and I. That's our karaoke go-to when we do the karaoke stuff too. That's fun, but
awesome.
And so that's the second. That's going to be the last show, the last performance of the night.
I'm looking forward to hearing all this.
Yeah, so gates open, tickets, doors open at what time?
Doors open at 7. You can get tickets online. It's 15 ahead of time, 20 at the door. And again, the only reason we're doing that is obviously to take care of the venue, but also to benefit Purple Heart Homes. And I want to honor my commitment to Dale and do that. So that's
Amos's at South End.
Amos South End, right behind
Charlotte.
Gin Mill in South End. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a great time.
For one, I'm really looking forward to being there and supporting. I know Andy Sapala, who you served with. He's planning on going. And I think
is Andy going to sing?
Lord, I hope not. God, I hope he does not get up there and sing.
If he does, I will record that for
Oh,
just
please.
That's got to be.
Just put him on stage.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm glad he's camera shy. That'll be the one thing that'll keep him off stage. So we're in good shape there. You bring your camera and no money, and we'll be good.
Whoa! No money. What's that?
We don't want him being encouraged. Money does encourage, Andy, especially to fundraise for charity.
That's true. And I'll be out there raising a little bit of extra money for PHH. So if you want to get Andy up there on the stage for enough dollars, I will take him in. I'll just tell Andy, I'll be like, hey, $500 says you won't get up on that stage and stage dive, and he'll be there.
Nobody will catch him.
Don't let him stage dive.
Yeah, don't let him stage dive. Nobody will catch him.
I got you, boss.
Yeah, so it's a huge weekend for events for PHH with the kayak fishing tournament, the Real Heroes kayak fishing tournament.
Kick off the military makeover.
Military makeovers in town. They just started today.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We're going to have a special guest on the show next week.
Ooh, yeah, well, no. That's
not next week.
Top secret.
Top secret.
That's not next week. Yeah, it's top
Okay.
secret. Yeah.
Well,
You'll have to stay tuned to find out who the special guest
there'll
is.
be a special guest sometime.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, at some point.
Someone, sometime.
So if you want to help out with military makeover, that's going on. There's a remodel going on in Mooresville, helping a Marine Corps veteran. Actually, his wife is a veteran too, correct?
Absolutely. Yep. Both of them Marine Corps veterans.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Military makeover wised up, and they realized that they wanted to help. Some Marines. People that really matter.
Lou, thank you so much for
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Happy retirement to you. And,
oh man,
thank you so much.
We got a minute.
We can thank Lou for an entire minute. Just give him accolades.
You're not only handsome, but you're powerful and talented.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think people are going to have a great time at Amos and South End. Yeah, they're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
And Lou's going to do an Eminem song while you're down there.
I don't know that I will do that, by the
with
way.
your
I said
band.
we do it. I didn't say I was going to do it.
Minutes and Years? Is that right?
Minutes and Years is the second band, yeah.
Minutes and Years on Spotify.
That's it, yeah. So they are. You check them out, iTunes, Spotify. We're out there with our original stuff, too.
All right. Or you can hear them live at Amos's on South End at 7 p.m.
That's it.
Lou, we'll definitely have to have you back and hear more about your military service and get an update on how your reintegration's going.
I'd love that.
After you get your retirement finalized.
Cool.
You and Brad can compare notes on the trials of retirement paperwork.
Yes.
The majors with major pain in retirement.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. Please consider making a donation to this worthwhile cause dedicated to improving the lives of veterans one home at a time by visiting purplehearthomesusa.org. Join us again next Thursday at 3 p.m. for Putting the Pieces Back Together.